What if you could be eating healthy, cutting out processed foods, and still not getting the nutrients your body needs? That was one of the most important things I learned over a decade ago. I was eating what most people would call healthy fruits, vegetables, clean meals, trying to do the right things. But I still felt sluggish, like my body just was not responding. And that is when I realized something important. It is possible to eat healthy food and still miss out on the nutrients your body needs for energy. Not because the food itself is bad, but because of a few common mistakes we make when selecting, storing, preparing, and cooking our food. And those small mistakes can quietly affect how much nutrients your body actually receives. So in this video, I'm sharing 4 mistakes that were significantly reducing the amount of nutrients my body was getting. And mistake number 4 is one almost every woman I talk to does without realizing the impact. Now, the first mistake is assuming that all fruits and vegetables are equally nutritious. We have gotten used to going to the supermarket, picking up a bag of spinach, some tomatoes, cucumbers, or apples, giving them a quick look to make sure they are not spoiled, and tossing them into the cart. And if the price is right, we feel good about it. But here is what most of us do not stop to ask. Where was this grown? How long was it harvested? Was the soil healthy? Was it picked before it was fully ripe? How long did it sit in storage before it got to the store? Because the truth is, just because something looks fresh does not mean it is as nutrient dense as we think. Most of us assume that if we are eating more fruits and vegetables, our body should automatically be better. And yes, eating more whole foods is a great step. But in today's food system, eating healthy does not always mean your body is getting all the nutrients it needs. Many of the fruits and vegetables we see in the supermarket are grown to mature quickly, look attractive, withstand shipping, and last longer on shelves. But that does not always mean it was grown for maximum nutrition. And this matters because nutrients do not just appear in food by magic. They come from the soil. And if the soil is depleted, the food grown in that soil may also be lower in certain nutrients. Now, research has shown that some crops today contain lower levels of certain nutrients than they did decades ago, including calcium, iron, vitamin C, and some B vitamins. So that healthy salad may still be good for you, but it may not be giving your body as much nutrients as you think. And then there is the issue of time. From the moment produce is harvested, it starts to lose nutrients. Some nutrients are more fragile than others, especially vitamin C and certain B vitamins. Now think about what happens when produce have to travel a long distance. It may be picked early before it reaches peak ripeness. Then it is packed, shipped, stored, sent to a distribution center, delivered to the supermarket, placed on display. Then it sits in your fridge until you are ready to eat it. That entire journey can take days or even weeks. And during that time, the produce may slowly lose some of its nutritional value, especially if it is exposed to changes in temperature, light, air, or moisture. This is one reason locally grown and seasonal produce can make such a difference. It is usually harvested closer to the time you buy it. It has not had to travel as far. And because of that, it may be fresher and more nutrient rich by the time it gets to your plate. So I'm not saying eating healthy is a waste of time. Please do not hear that. eating fruits and vegetables is still one of the best things you can do for your health. But I'm saying this. If you are spending money on healthy food, you want to make sure it is actually feeding your body, not just filling your plate. So whenever possible, choose locally grown produce. Buy seasonal fruits and vegetables. Visit farmers market when you can. And if you have access to organic or regeneratively grown produce, that's even better. Because the goal is not to just eat clean. The goal is to eat food that still have life and nutrients. The next mistake is assuming all meat is the same. A lot of us grew up thinking if I eat chicken, lamb, beef, or fish, I'm getting protein, so I'm good. And yes, protein is important, but where the meat comes from matters too. Because just like the quality of fruits and vegetables depend on how they are grown, the quality of meat depends on how the animal was raised, what it was fed, and the environment it lived in. Most of the meat found in supermarkets today come from large-scale industrial farming systems. Now, these systems are designed to produce a lot of meat quickly and cheaply. But the problem is animals are often raised in crowded, stressful environments. Fed diets there were not naturally designed to eat, and sometimes given antibiotics to reduce the risk of disease spreading in those conditions. And here is why that matters for your body. When animals are fed diets that are not natural to them, it can affect the nutritional quality of the meat. For example, grain-fed meat can be lower in omega-3 fats and may have a higher omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. Now, omega-6 fats are not bad by themselves. Your body needs them. But when they are too high compared to omega-3s, that imbalance may contribute to more inflammation in the body. And for women over 40, that matters because this is the stage of life where your body may already be more sensitive to inflammation, blood sugar swings, stubborn weight, joint pains, fatigue, and hormone changes. So if you are eating meat regularly, but the meat comes from animal raised in stressful conditions, fed inflammatory diets, and exposed to routine antibiotics or hormones, your body may not be getting the clean nourishment it needs. This does not mean you need to panic or throw away everything in your fridge, but it does mean you need to become more intentional. Now, when possible, look for higher quality meat sources, grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken and eggs, wild-caught fish, meat from local farmers you trust. Are animals raised without routine antibiotics or added hormones? Because the goal is not just to eat protein, the goal is to eat protein that supports your energy, hormones, metabolism, and overall health. And sometimes the reason your body still feels tired or inflamed is not that you are not trying. It may be because the quality of what you eat isn't giving your body what it actually needs. Now, the next mistake is not storing your produce properly. So let's say you did the right thing. You went to the farmer's market. You picked up fresh organic fruits and vegetables, leafy greens, and herbs. But now the question is, how do you keep those nutrients from disappearing before you even eat the food? Because buying fresh produce is one thing, storing it properly is another. So one of the first things to pay attention to is temperature. Fresh fruits and vegetables are still alive in a sense. After they are harvested, they continue to breathe, ripen, and break down. So the warmer they get, the faster they break down. That means if you buy fresh produce and leave it in a hot car while you run your errands, it already loses freshness before it even gets to the fridge. And when freshness declines, nutrient quality can decline as well. So one simple thing you can do is this. When you buy fresh produce, try to get it home as quickly as possible. Do not let it sit in the heat for hours. Now, once you get home, store it properly. The focus is on reducing moisture. This is especially important for leafy greens. Moisture can make greens spoil faster if they are packed away wet. That is why sometimes when you buy lettuce, spinach, or herbs, they are slimy, wilted, or rotten a few days later. It is not always because the produce was bad. Sometimes it is because there were too much moisture trapped in a container or bag. What I like to do is make sure my greens are dry before I store them. I store them in an airtight container or a breathable produce bag with a paper towel inside to absorb extra moisture. That small step can make a big difference. It can help your greens stay fresher longer and help you waste less food. Now let's talk about the crisper drawer in your fridge. A lot of us have that drawer at the bottom of the fridge, but we do not always use it properly. That drawer is there for a reason. It helps control humidity, which can prolong the shelf life of certain fruits and vegetables. So as a general rule, leafy greens do better in high humidity drawers. Things like spinach, lettuce, kale, and herbs need moisture in the air so they do not dry out too quickly. But some fruits and vegetables do better in a lower humidity drawer. That includes things like apples, grapes, bell peppers, and squash. And here is another important thing. Some fruits release ethylene gas as they ripen. Apples, pear, bananas, plums, and cantaloupes are examples of that. That gas can cause other produce nearby to ripen or spoil faster. It can make greens turn yellow. It can make potatoes sprout. It can even affect the taste and texture of certain vegetables. So one simple rule is keep fruits separate from your vegetables whenever possible, especially high ethylene fruits. Now another thing to remember is that colder is not always better. Yes, many vegetables stay fresher in the fridge, but not everything likes cold temperatures. Bananas, cucumbers, eggplant, citrus, potatoes, and sweet potatoes can all be affected by too much cold. They may lose flavor, develop dark spots, and change texture. So part of getting more nutrients from your food is learning what belongs in the fridge and what does not. Because if you store your produce the wrong way, you are not just losing food, you are losing money, you are losing nutrients, you may be losing some of the energy your body needs from the food you already paid for. So remember, do not leave the produce sitting in heat. Dry greens before storing them. Use your crisper drawer properly. Separate fruits that release ethylene gas from vegetables. And learn which foods should stay out of the fridge. These small changes in storage can help your food stay fresher, last longer, and nourish your body better. Now, the next mistake is how we prepare and cook our produce. Because even after you choose better produce and store it properly, you can lose a lot of nutrients in the kitchen. Let's start with peeling. How many of us automatically peel apples, cucumbers, carrots, squash, sweet potatoes, mangoes, and even citrus? We do it without thinking, but here's the problem. When you peel certain fruits and vegetables, you may be throwing away some of the most nutritional parts. Many of the fiber, antioxidants, and micronutrients are found in the skin and the layer just beneath it. So when we peel everything, we may be tossing valuable nutrients straight into the trash. Now, I'm not saying you must eat every peel. Some peels are tough and even bitter. But for produce with edible skin, it may be worth keeping the skin on more often. For example, instead of peeling cucumbers, you can wash them well and slice them with the skin on. Instead of peeling carrots, you can scrub them thoroughly and cut them as is. Sweet potato skin can also be eaten. Citrus peels can be grated or added to soups, stew, dressing, teas, or smoothies for extra flavor and antioxidants. You can even use vegetable scraps and peels to make broth. You can simmer carrot peels, onion skins, celery tops, herb stems, and other clean scraps to make a simple, mineral-rich broth. But here is the important part. Wash your produce properly. And when possible, choose organic, especially if you plan to eat the skin. Because while the skin can be rich in nutrients, it can also carry pesticide residue if the produce was conventionally grown. Now, let's talk about cooking. Because how you cook your vegetables matters. When vegetables contain water-soluble vitamins, especially vitamin C and B vitamins, these nutrients are fragile. They can break down at too high a temperature and dissolve into the cooking water. So if you're boiling vegetables and then pouring the water down the drain, you may be losing some of the nutrients as well. So think about vegetables like beets, carrots, or squash. If you boil them for a long time until they are very soft, some nutrients can leach into the water, especially the water-soluble ones. So I prefer to lightly steam or saute my vegetables. You want them tender but still bright and slightly crisp, not mushy, not lifeless, not cooked until all the color is gone. Now another option is to use the cooking liquid. So if you do boil vegetables, do not overcook or throw the water away. You can use the water in soups, stew, sauces, or broth, so you are not wasting those nutrients. Small changes like this matters. So keep the skin on when it makes sense. Use clean scraps for broth. Avoid overcooking your vegetables and choose cooking methods that help preserve most of the nutrients your body needs for energy, hormones, digestion, and overall health. So remember, it is not just about eating healthy food. It is about making sure the food you choose, store, prepare, and cook is actually nourishing your body. Choose fresh, locally produced foods. Buy organic or regeneratively grown food when you can. Store it properly. Keep the nutrients instead of throwing them away. And cook your food in a way that helps your body receive more of what it needs. Because your body is not just asking for food, it is asking for nourishment.